Hi class, we are looking at figure 13-9 in your Ruddiman textbook, and what this shows is the distribution of pollen in a Minnesota lake sediment core. And when you're looking at sediment cores, it's a little different than a regular graph. So if you look at the y-axis over here, which is the depth in the core in meters, zero would represent the surface of the sediment. Whereas as you move deeper down, you're also moving back in time to older sediment, and in this case, the oldest is at a depth of about 12 meters. And carbon was also preserved in these sediment cores. And the really cool thing here is that you can look at the ratio of carbon 14 to nitrogen 14 to figure out the age of each depth in these cores, because carbon is a radioactive isotope and it decays over time to nitrogen 14. Its half-life is 5,730 years. And so we can figure out the age using this dating technique. So if one half-life has passed, that means that half the initial carbon 14 is remaining in the core. Then we can figure out that 5,730 years have passed, right? If two half-lives have passed, then that's over 11,000 years. And so that's how it works. And what we're looking at then in these cores is the percentage of each type of pollen compared to other types of pollen. So for instance, spruce is a cold tolerant species right here. So you could see at the deepest layers in this core that there is a high percentage of spruce pollen, which indicates colder climate conditions, whereas oak tends to be around in warmer environments. And then when you see prairie pollen, so these grasses and herbs, that's indicative of drier conditions. So combining all this information, we can infer what climate looked like in the past. And so on the secondary y-axis, we see the carbon 14 age in years. So the depth of 12 meters was dated to be 13,270 years ago. So we can see that at this time, which corresponds to the Younger Dryas, that this was a brief cold spell in that warm deglacial period. So we have abundant spruce pollen at this time, and it was pretty dry too. We have about 18% prairie pollen. And then as you move up in lower depths of the core, we can see that it got a little warmer again due to more oak pollen, and you can see that between 7,000 and 5,000 years ago in this Minnesota lake, it was a little drier too.